Welcome to Sage Audio. Today we're talking about how to multiband compress your master. But first, if you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com to receive a free mastered sample of it. Understanding crossover and slope. When creating bands in a multiband compressor, they can be separate from one another or they can overlap. Delink bands for the most isolation, increase the slope between them for some isolation, and lower the slope for the bands to cross over. Isolation gives you more control, but can sound a little less natural, whereas crossover emulates natural musical dynamics. Let's take a listen.
Oh my good Lord, what a feeling. All of this joy I've been stealing. We all need someone that can make us believe. So call me a man on a mission. I'm guilty by my...
Downward compression. To create downward compression, select the compression mode or create a compression ratio and use a negative range. When the threshold is crossed by the signal, attenuation of the signal will occur, which helps to both control dynamics and possibly balance the frequency spectrum. For example, if 200 Hz is making the master muddy, I could use downward compression to attenuate it when it's too loud. Let's take a listen.
Oh my good Lord, what a feeling. All of this joy I've been stealing. We all need someone that can make us believe. So call me a man on a mission. I'm guilty by my...
Upward compression. To create upward compression, select the compression mode and use a positive range. Whenever the signal falls below the threshold, it'll be amplified from the noise floor up, adding body and power to that frequency range, while leaving the track's peaks unaffected. So say I wanted 800 Hz to have more body, I'd use upward compression to increase its amplitude. Let's take a listen.
Oh my good Lord, what a feeling. All of this joy I've been stealing. We all need someone that can make us believe. So call me a man on a mission. I'm guilty by my...
Downward expansion. Downward expansion is often called gating and doesn't play a big role in mastering, but it's good to cover. If used subtly, it can increase dynamics. To create it, select the expansion mode and use a negative range. So say I wanted the snare's frequencies to be quieter until the snare hits, I'd very subtly use downward expansion to decrease that range's volume. Let's take a listen.
Oh my good Lord, what a feeling. All of this joy I've been stealing. We all need someone that can make us believe. So call me a man on a mission. I'm guilty by my...
Upward expansion. Upward expansion can be created by using the expansion mode with a positive range value. Whenever the signal goes above the threshold, the signal will be amplified, which is great for kicks and snares. If I wanted my kick to be more prevalent, I could use upward expansion at about 80 Hz. Let's take a listen to it.
Oh my good Lord, what a feeling. All of this joy I've been stealing. We all need someone that can make us believe. So call me a man on a mission. I'm guilty by my...
Attack and release. Attack and release play a large role in establishing the timbre of your compression or expansion. For example, a short attack and long release causes a smooth sound, while the opposite settings cause increased clarity. So if I wanted to smooth out the high frequencies, I could use downward compression with a quicker attack and slower release. Let's take a listen.
Oh my good Lord, what a feeling. All of this joy I've been stealing. We all need someone that can make us believe. So call me a man on a mission. I'm guilty by my...
Knee and ratio. How much compression or expansion that occurs once the signal goes above or below your threshold depends on your ratio and your knee, which work in close relation to one another. A harder knee results in less compression, but with a more aggressive sound when it does occur. A softer knee will cause more compression, but the compression will be more gradual and less noticeable. Let's take a listen.
Oh my good Lord, what a feeling.
Mid-side imaging. Some multiband compressors allow for mid-side routing, meaning you can expand or compress just the mid or side, or both, in turn narrowing or widening your stereo image. Typically, mid-bands should be used on lower frequencies and sidebands on higher. So say I wanted to increase the width of the stereo image. I could create a band on just the side and expand some of my higher frequencies. Let's take a listen to it.
Oh my good Lord, what a feeling. All of this joy I've been stealing. We all need someone that can make us believe. So call me.
Phase settings for multiband compressors. Typically, it's best to avoid minimum latency filters when mastering, since these will result in phase changes to your signal, which can have a negative impact on the sound. Linear phase results in the least phase changes, but can cause pre-ringing that smears transients. Dynamic is a good blend of the two and reduces static phase changes with very modest pre-ringing. Let's take a listen.
Oh my good Lord, what a feeling. All of this joy I've been stealing. We all need someone that can make us believe. So call me man on a mission. I'm guilty by my...
If you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com to receive a free mastered sample of it. Also, subscribe to stay up to date on all of our latest videos. Thank you so much for watching.